What is up guys, how's it going? In this video I'm going to be reviewing the Rogers iPhone 5S. Now this device was given to me for review from Rogers, so a huge shout out to them for hooking me up with this. And I actually got to spend a lot of time, close to a month with this phone, so I've learned a lot about the 5S. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the 5S. On the left of the phone is where you'd find the volume buttons along with the dedicated vibration on and off button. On the right hand side there are no buttons apart from the nano SIM card slot. On the very top of the 5S is where you'd find the power button, and on the very bottom it's got the speakerphone along with the 3.5mm headphone jack and the charging port. In front, the 5S has a 4-inch IPS LCD screen which has a pixel per inch density of 326. It has some really nice contrast, some really nice colors. It has decent viewing angles too. And in front, once again, is where you'd find the earpiece along with the 1.2 megapixel front-facing shooter. On the back of the phone is the 8 megapixel rear facing camera along with the dual LED flash, and it's also where the 1560 non-removable milliamp hour battery lies. The 5S is made out of aluminium and it feels really nice in your hand. The build material is very premium, and if I actually had to do like a top list of the best built phones of all time, I won't have any problems in putting the 5S on number 1. Now in terms of specs, the 5S is running Apple's A7 dual-core 1.3 GHz processor, which is clocked in at 1 GB of DDR3 RAM. It comes in 16, 32, and 64 GB of storage variants. The price obviously depends on what storage variant you go for, and unfortunately no, there is no micro SD card slot for expandable storage. And as far as software goes, it's running Apple's latest iOS 7, although iOS 8 has been announced, but that won't be coming until September, so for now it's running iOS 7. iOS 7 has a chunk of features which I won't be talking about in depth. Some of them are such as the notification bar on the top of the screen. You've got your quick settings which you can swipe from the bottom to access Wi-Fi, brightness, Bluetooth, and all that stuff. And overall the OS is very fluid and very smooth. I like the transitions when going into apps and coming out of apps, and apps also operate nicely. They're very fluid again, they're very smooth. They operate almost in a way that feels very consistent between every single app, and I like what Apple has done with their app ecosystem. And now in terms of app ecosystem, they have tons and tons of apps. The App Store is probably the only store, or I'd say the App Store and the Google Play Store is the only app stores where you can find an app for pretty much anything. Think about anything, a baby monitor, an expense manager, just think about any app and I can pretty much assure you that the app is already there on the App Store. That is how good the variety of the Apple App Store is. As far as the keyboard on the 5S goes, it was really good. It auto-corrected and predicted sort of like the word that I was typing, and it was really nice. It worked, I'd say 90% of the time. I did wish that there were third-party keyboards, but they aren't any as of now. But Apple has decided to open up third-party keyboard support for iOS 8, so a huge thumbs up to that, and I look forward to that whenever it gets released. One of the features which I loved on the 5S definitely has to be the Touch ID integration into the home button. It worked pretty much 99% of the time. All I had to do was just place my thumb and it recognized and it opened the device right away. It literally took about a second or two. You can set, I believe, up to 4 or 5 different fingerprints, and it works all the time, so I really loved it. The camera of the 5S is another aspect in which I was impressed with. It took decent pictures. The camera software, as you can see, is also really clean and really nicely laid out. You can actually apply a bunch of effects. There's a HDR mode, there's a panorama mode, there's a square mode. You can also shoot video of up to 1080p with the rear camera and up to 720p with the front-facing camera. And here are a bunch of sample pictures I did, so go ahead and take a look. Now, for the overall picture quality from the photos, I was actually really impressed because I wasn't expecting pictures to be this good from an 8 megapixel shooter, but they turned out quite better than I had initially expected. In daylight, the pictures were really great. They weren't too fuzzy or too mushy. They were just perfect. Here's a panorama that turned out nicely. Indoor lighting pictures were also good, and overall I was really satisfied with the performance of the camera. Now, coming from a phone with a bigger screen, the smaller screen size did feel a little awkward at first, but then I did really like the convenience of being able to use the phone with just one hand due to its smaller screen size. The dedicated silence or vibrate switch on the left hand side of the phone was so convenient for me. I really wish right now that every phone had this button on it, because this is pretty much a no-brainer. You don't need to unlock your phone or do anything. Flick the switch and it goes on vibrate. This is something that I believe almost every phone should have after using the iPhone 5S. Battery life on the 5S was actually very great. I got a full day of use. 8 a.m. plugged it off the charger, plugged it back in around 11 p.m. and I still had 15 to 20%, which is very good in my opinion. Now, to conclude my review, if there's one word that I could sum up this entire review with, is impressive. That's what the iPhone 5S is. It has that really nice and beautiful build quality. It has a great camera. It has a small and convenient screen which makes the one-handed use very easy. It has great apps, a really smooth interface, and a really nice experience, which I wasn't expecting at first, but now that I've been through it, I would definitely love to own an Apple iOS device. I have nothing against them. Although I love Android, I still love Apple equally as much, as I believe they're doing a great job too. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this review. If you liked it, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, and do subscribe to stay tuned to more of my stuff. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, or you can follow me on any of my social networks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.